Morning guys, welcome back to Betty's channel. She's doing the do as always. Please give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Drop a comment in below, tell us what you all think. So today, we're doing little bits and pieces. Like, them simple window blinds I made the other day. These. I'm going to be using these little Velcro strips, sticking them to the window and the blind. So that they stay on and you can take them off easy enough. Same as a sliding door. I'm also going to mess around with the telly again. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. Bought one of these Roku Express Fire Sticks things, type of thing. Faster, high definition, streaming made easy. Anyway, you're supposed to be able to get all these channels with it. It's free. You don't have to subscribe to anything. Well, you have to subscribe to the channels, obviously. You have to have an account. But to stream them on this device, you don't need any subscription, any payment to the Roku people. Like I said, it was 20 quid off Amazon. That's a little unit. It plugs into the telly with an HDMI cable, and I think it's a constant power source. So the USB lead it came with, I might have to get a longer one because I'm just going to plug it into solar controller where Betty's Wi-Fi is plugged into, so it's constantly on. And then I'm going to screw either two of these hooks or two of these hooks into the cladding, which is going to, the TV is going to hang up. So I'm just going to see how it goes before I decide whether I'm going to buy a bracket or not, and then obviously we can just watch it while we're chilling. I might get a bracket, I'm not sure yet, and the bracket will probably be a fixed bracket, or I might get a one you can turn it round towards the front of the van. I don't know yet, but before I spend some money I'll decide. Need to play around with it, make sure it works. The Fire Stick, I'm calling it a Fire Stick, it's not really a Fire Stick, it's a streaming stick. Because Fire Stick's Amazon, isn't it? And it's not Amazon. Oh look, so plug in your wire, connect to Wi-Fi, start streaming. There's Betty's Wi-Fi, which will be upgraded later on in the year to a Netgear one, better router, and I might even get an antenna for roof. So that's going to be the basic video today of them two things going on. But if my hole cutter comes from Amazon today, because I ordered it last night, it might not come till later on today. I'm going to cut a hole in the floor and physically fit the diesel heater into the floor, and then look at where the vents go in, put the air filter and exhaust on underneath, seal it all, and look to plumb it in. But that's not going to be today, but at least I can fix it in, and then the only thing I need to do is sort the plumbing out for the fuel. See you in a bit. Oh. It's doing something. Oh, there we go. It's just tuning itself in. It's doing that. So it's working off Betty's Wi-Fi. Your Roku device is updated to the latest software version. Continue. Enter your email address to get a Roku activation link and start streaming. Right, so let's enter email address. It's doing stuff. I've got Netflix up. But it looks like you're going to have to sign into every app that you've got, which is fine. Just take a bit of time, but we'll sort all that out. Happy days. Well, they didn't work. I think it's just because it sticks to the carpet and then just pulls it off the carpet when I pull it off. So, might have to be suction pads. I'll have to have a look online. Got these little storage shelves from B&M's, like the bathroom storage. They come with suckers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the suckers off and screw them on. That's the entertainment set up. So we've got a little Roku box at the side, And even with it sort of like pointing downwards, we can still access the apps. But problem is, with it hung up there, I'll just leave it there for the moment. Obviously we'll take it down when we're travelling, because it does, as you can see, if the van moves it swings about. So if this van's rocking, I need to put it on a bracket. Now this is part of the video that you've all been waiting for. I'm going to drill a hole in the floor, fit the diesel heater. But first, you've got to, I've got some fire retardant sealer to seal underneath, because it does get hot. But I'm just going to put up the other, I don't know why I'm laughing, I'm just going to put up the other window blind, because I've got some magnets for it. Let's do that. How cute are these little magnets I got off Amazon. They're only a £5, so let's see if I can stick the that window blind up with them. Unfortunately, they're not strong enough to stick to the van with that blind, so I'm going to think of something else. Okay, just drilled 2 little screws in, and it supports it. So that'll do for time being until we organise some blinds. You're not going to be able to see in when nobody's having a poo, so that's good. And just put 2 screws in that one so the blind sits behind it. Well, it's alright. Let's just shut the door and see what it looks like. Hey presto, blackout blinds ish. Right, I'm about to drill a hole in the middle of that space there, see where it comes up. No, that space. That space. Just with a little mark on ban, which is there, that I put on earlier, and I would have drilled the wrong bloody hole. Let's see where that has come out. We'll do it together. Let's see what's what. There's the hole. We're not a million miles away from the centre. So if I move the pilot drill to about there, because obviously that other cross member comes across there, we'll go back and check, but I think it's best to move the hole cutter to there. So that's, yeah, that'll do, a start. Okay, the cross member is just under there. It's 7.5 inches from the hole, so I've got this area to play with, because obviously I don't want to cut into the cross member. I'm still a small cross member, but it's still a cross member, and I can move it back a bit as well towards the sills, and that should still give me plenty of storage space here. So let's drill the hole, see if it fits, take it from there. This is the hole cutter and the drill adapter that I got off Amazon. They were only 15 quid. Because I was a bit giddy, wanted it doing. And I can obviously use that for other diesel heater installations for other vans that might want one doing. In fact, I've got one in Stockport to do over the next few weeks, as well as a solar panel for £10 an hour. So that's good. Let's crack on. So, got my drill ready. I think I know where it's going. Let's just check that the heater fits alright. I think that's its final resting place now. I've got enough gap at the back to get a couple of screws on there. Obviously there's enough room to get the screws there. And there should be enough room to bend the pipe round. And that means I can cover the hole I've just drilled. If not, I'll put some Sikaflex in it. Let's get the pipe on and see what it looks like. It's going to look a bit like that. So the heater vent's going to go there, which means it's going to come out about there. So I'm just going to draw, if I can get a little marker pen underneath that turret, and just half moon it. The reason that people use turrets is that it's a lot less messier than just drilling 2 holes in the floor and putting the pipes through, because it means you can put the exhaust pipe and the air filter pipe through without getting gunged up in sealant and stuff like that. So it just makes it a bit cleaner. And underneath, I mean, what I will do is I'll fit the exhaust pipe and the air filter pipe to the heater before I put it through the floor, before I screw it to the floor. But I'll seal it round the outside of the turret underneath as well before I fix it in. No, I won't. I'll fix it in, then I'll seal it. Obviously I'm going to paint the metalwork first with some rust-proof paint, so it's not rusting, because there's no rot on this at all, which is good. Let's get drilling. Right, so that's where it's going to go, that second line. I need to take that screw out and just move it up a bit, because obviously that's for the floor. I don't want to drill through the screw, so we'll do that, move it up a bit, and then let's get drilling. I think my little drill's not big enough to handle it, so I'm going to get an electric one. I haven't got an electric drill with a big enough chuck. So I'll go with my Ryobi and see how I get on with that. 1 hole. Just need to do a bit of tidying up. Put the heater in, see if it works. I mean, not see if it fits. I used 2 drills, but it worked. Well, the heater goes through the hole, and there's very, very minimal movement in the circle. So obviously once that's screwed down at that level with the baton, once that's screwed down, it's not going to go anywhere. I've still got all this space here. Well, not there, because that's the vent and that's the heat vent. So I might partition this off, so I've got a bit of storage there. I'm not sure whether to put the pump on the inside or the outside yet. If I put the pump on the inside, it means I'm going to have to drill another hole in the floor for the fuel pipe. So I only really want to drill 1 hole. So I might put the pump underneath. A bit less noisy, and try and insulate as much as possible, because they can be noisy, these little buggers. So let's paint the metalwork, seal it up, put the exhaust pipe on and the inlet pipe, and screw it to the floor. Put the pipe on, put the vent in, and then all I need to do is sort the fuel out. To be fair to who had the van before, it's a proper lot of, it's about 2-3 mil of underseal on that, so no wonder there's no rot on it. Right. Fair play to them, looked after it. Well, looked after the underneath anyway. As you know, well, I don't know if you remember, but the inside of it when I got it was a complete and utter shithole. Anyway, there we go. I'm just going to rust proof the metal with a bit of black hammerite. Right, we'll just leave that to dry, and then we'll get the diesel litre in. Now when you're van building and it's breakfast time, because it's about 9:30 now, I've had an out to eat, you need sustenance. So a bacon and egg barm is the way to go normally, but because I'm a bit of a fat knacker at the minute, so I need to lose a bit of weight, I'm going for 2 pan au chocolats. I've actually had another one, so I've had 3, because they don't last that long, and a cup of tea. I said earlier in the video that some people buy extra fuel piping for the kit, which is what I did ages ago. It's like this nylon piping, but to get the little rubber the rubber pipe over, well, to get the white pipe inside the black rubber, and then the rubber over the diesel litre fuel supply. Cup of hot water softens it all up. It's always a good idea when you're putting the exhaust pipe and the inlet pipe on and the fuel pipe, try and get a Jubilee clips in an area where you can get at them. I've got a 7mm socket there, which has done the fuel pipe and the exhaust pipe, but I can't quite get it on the inlet pipe, so I need a 7mm spanner, so I've got to borrow one from a very, very good neighbour. I've got to drill another hole in the floor for the wire for the pump, but that'll be the last job. Well, last job of today anyway. So I'm just waiting for a 7mm spanner, and I can tighten all that lot up, put it in there, screw it to the floor, plug the wire in that I need to, seal underneath, place the exhaust, place the air inlet, do the vent hole, and do the display. When you're looking at which way the pump goes, you can see the arrow, which is the direction of flow to the diesel heater. So when that gets put on the van underneath, obviously that end's going to be connected to the heater, and the other end's going to be connected to the fuel supply. And you need it on like a 45-degree angle. Don't know why, that's just what it says. It's all tightened up on there. So let's get it through the hole and screw it to the floor. That's the heater screwed to the floor. I'll just show you what it looks like outside before I come back in and just do the heating ducting. See all this gubbins of wire in here? I'm going to connect that fuel pipe to the fuel pump and the fuel filter, and I'm going to hang that up somewhere. I'm going to connect that to the exhaust baffles and probably bolt it to that bracket there. I might have to move it to another bracket so it just pokes out underneath, because obviously you don't want the exhaust coming back up inside the van. And the air filter I'll probably just cable tie to that cross member there, and that'll be fine. And then I've got a seal round the turret base with that fire sealant, which is also waterproof sealant, for obviously there's going to be a lot of shit from the road coming up there. So let's go back inside and do the inside bits. Heater vents on. I struggled a bit with that one because that's a 75mm diameter and I only had a 73mm cutter, so I've had to do a bit of filing, but it's in. Pipes on. Right, let's get the display on. That's the wiring loom. That's the pump. That's the pump connector, which has got to go through the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it, drill a small hole in the floor, pass this through, and then reconnect it outside, or reconnect it inside. It's quite a long wire, so there's plenty to connect it. There's plenty of room. So I'm going to, yeah, so rather than a big hole for that block, just a small hole for the wire, and reconnect it and then tape it up. I'll reconnect it so it's connected inside and not outside. Yeah. Connector for the pump. So I wanted to just drill a small hole in the floor and then cut the wires, feed them back up and reconnect them. All sounds quite simple until when you start stripping off the black covering. The wires are, I can get hold of them, the same colour, green and white. So obviously I can't just cut them and then reconnect them because I might connect them the wrong way around. So I'm going to cut them, put a piece of insulation tape, I'm going to cut one, put a piece of insulation tape on both ends, and then I know that when I reconnect them that they need to be connected together, and therefore by sheer genius the other one with no insulation tape on will just connect to itself again. Happy days. I've just re-insulated that wire, So now I'm going to drill a hole in the floor near that wiring, feed this end back up and reconnect it to the other end, and that's the pump connected. That's all the wiring done for the diesel heater. I'm going to leave the pump wire that I've just reconnected uninsulated for the minute, just to make sure that it's working when I fire it all up. And if it's not, obviously I know it's a problem with the pump wire, I need to reconnect it. But that's the basic setup inside. Diesel heater, heating duct, vents, control, and that also comes with a remote control as well, which is quite handy. The only thing I've noticed it's not come with is they normally come with a little brass standpipe that would sit in your fuel tank in your van, but I've not got one. So I'm going to talk to a mechanic and see if I can plumb it into the return feed for the tank, or if not, I'll have to drop the tank. I'll have to order a standpipe, drop the tank and use it on the sender unit, but we'll see. I'm going to go outside now, underneath, and sort all that out. Right, got our bits and pieces for sort the exhaust out. Muffler, as the Americans say, it's a muffler. Bolts, bracket, spanner, socket. I've also got a little socket to tighten up my Jubilee cup as well. So we're going to put it, I'll show you where to put it. Oh, it's not easy this, you know. I'm going to bolt it. There's a hole. Where is it? There's a hole in that cross member, and we're going to bolt it there. Exhaust is on. I'd have to drill a hole in that bracket there. You can sort of bend it, manipulate it to whichever way you want, but it's in, it's fixed. Let's see what it looks like from the outside. Oh, not too bad. It's discreetish. That'll do. Air filters on. Just cable tied in a Heath Robinson fashion. Next job, get the pump on, connect the pump, connect the fuel line to the pump, connect the fuel filter to the fuel line, and then just strap it up, ready to get plumbed in. Yeah, that's with that. Okay, that's the underneath done. We've got an exhaust. We've got, where is it? Has it gone? Oh. Air filter. Pump. Fuel filter. And some tied up fuel cable ready to be plumbed in. All I've got to do now is seal round that with fire sealant, and that is the underneath done. Yay, the inside's done. I'll show you that. That's the inside. Little display there, vent there. So all there is to do now is connect it into the fuel, pop a fuse in the fuse box, and give it a test run. Might not be for another week or so, so there'll be a part 3 because we're away next week in Betty for a couple of days, and I need to arrange somewhere to try and drop the tank, because I can't really do it on the drive. Not as young as I used to be. Dirty boy. Dirty boy. Now like a brasserie after a hard day's van building. Well, that's it for this episode. This is part 2 of the Chinese diesel heater install video. There will be a part 3 of it being plumbed in, but at the minute everything's in, ready to go. Come here, it's a right mess. Come here, fingers. Dirty boy, dirty boy. Anyway, thanks for watching. Watch out for the next episode. It might not be the diesel heater install, but it'll be something else, because that's what I'm doing. I might do the TV bracket if that arrives soon, but you never know, could be anything. But anyway, please give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us a subscribe, drop a comment down below, tell us what you all think. See you on the next one, and above all, please keep doing what you do.